thinking about it. Yeah, we thinking about it. What we got here, how we fucking got here. They recognized, they just recognized. I'm in a life without a home, so this recognition's not enough. I don't care about nobody else, 'cause I've been on these streets for too long, too long, too long. Maybe I've been on this too long.
Mark is a promising scriptwriter, connected filmmaker who lives in Hastings. Creative labour is controlled by relations of power, but fortunately for Mark, he remains connected with employers in the creative industry, having been a student at the University of Brighton. According to Bourdieu, this form of capital is called social capital. What he does, having bought his equipment using his student loan, Mark has proven through self-determination that he wants to take his skills more on a professional level, one which would allow him potentially to earn money from labour work. For the time being, he considers himself an independent freelancer who earns money here and there through individual projects which he does with the community and with local friends. According to Paul Miller, the pro-amps are knowledgeable, educated, committed and networked by new technology. The 20th century was shaped by large hierarchical organizations with professionals at their top. Pro-amps are creating new distributed organizational models that will be innovative, adaptive and cost-effective. The obstacles that Mark faces. As an amateur filmmaker, Mark talks about his experience as a freelancer. He raises concerns about various factors that hinder him to work as a professional. For example, he touches on issues around cutbacks in the United Kingdom that affect everyone, but mostly those who want to pursue a career which is professional. Positive things that Mark does. One of the most interesting things I came across in the interview was that Mark was very passionate about speaking on the issues of social cleansing and the regentrification that is currently taking place in the United Kingdom, but specifically in Brixton, a residential area which Mark was during his childhood years. According to Murdoch, moves in the cultural industries towards outsourcing production, relying more on freelance labour and assembling teams on a project-by-project basis have combined to make careers in the cultural industries less secure and predictable. Mark is a promising filmmaker, scriptwriter who is well connected in the area of Hastings where he lives. Creative labour is controlled by relations of power, but fortunately for Mark, he remains connected, having been a student at the University of Brighton. According to Bourdieu, he sees this as a social capital because he is able to connect with various people across an industry. What he does, having bought his equipment using his student loan, Mark has been exceptional in trying to pursue his career as an independent freelancer, and he goes on to talk about various things and challenges that he faces not having the financial aid that would help him to be a professional. Although he is a former student at the University of Brighton, he is still able to be culturally connected to an institution and tied to people that he formerly knew and still is building connections towards making a professional career. The obstacles that Mark faces. As an amateur filmmaker, Mark talks about his experience as an independent filmmaker. He raises concerns about the factors that hinder him to work at a professional level. For example, one of the things he raises in the interview is about cutbacks. So the cutbacks in the United Kingdom are ways in which hinder people to actually pursue and achieve their career goals. Positive things about what he does. One interesting area which was raised in the interview was the whole idea of him going out there with self-determination and independence to create positive things that he does. One interesting area that he mentions in the interview very passionately about is the way that he goes out to London and captures events which are so inspiring for young upcoming filmmakers to actually go out and do. Mark speaks so much highly about his career and where he wants to go, and hence he sees himself becoming more professional in his craft. Having qualified from the University of Brighton with a degree, a broadcast degree, media degree, Mark has shown himself to persevere. Even though the odds may not be in his favour, he is still able to overcome and still trying to make projects a reality. He has entered into various projects and has been allowed to screen his work in various events such as the Odeon, and this is a type of cultural capital that he has walked himself into. According to Vaudor, this is very useful and this is very appealing, considering Mark is very committed to working in the media industry. My name is Joseph, thanks for listening.
So in order for art to continue, or any creativeness or creativity in filmmaking, in order for that to continue, it needs to be a real understanding of it. So in terms of the future, in terms of capital and social capital and stuff, of course we have to kind of think about what art really is, what creation really is and what filmmaking really is. And it's like a purest expression of, it doesn't have any form, it just happens, it just creates.
Happens, yeah,
it's the same way as anything's been created in the world,
Yeah, and you have the privilege as a filmmaker to capture these authentic and natural kind of expressions of the world, of nature, human beings, places, all these forms of art.
I mean, as a documentary maker, you have to kind of approach it with a non-biased approach, So you go in and you don't try and manipulate the situation in order to get something out of it, because events will unfold themselves naturally, just as they do. So going there, going to any form of event that you're filming, or obviously if you're talking about a particular subject and you have an interviewer, someone's going to be talking and you have to relate it to your own film, so you can't exactly tell them, say, tell me what this is, and because I want you to say something in order for it to benefit my film. Do you know what I mean? Because we all want that. We want someone to express something that actually benefit the film. So what your idea is have to go in with a sense of trust that whatever you're looking for on a certain day, maybe you won't find it that day. You'll find something else though, that's the thing, do you know what I mean? Because it's always expression. So if you're actually open to real expression of just human beings and human character and the life unfolding around you, then you'll have more freedom as a filmmaker to actually appreciate what you are filming, so you have more patience. And, so going but if you're raising awareness on certain situations, if you look at, say, Michael Moore, for example, showing different, he'll film a scene where he's talking about certain topics that are arising within certain parts of the country, so mostly New York or parts of America, and he'll do an educational piece on it and then see how the public react. Do you know what I mean? So he'll create like a stall in the town. He'll think of a situation where the public would react. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then film that, and then see how people react to that, and then see how different how people react in society to that. So then you can film something like that, and then that will be beneficial for the film.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but even then. Portrayal of scripts and stuff like that. But in terms of documentary, at the minute I'm working up in going up to London as much as I possibly can with finances that I've got, which is very little at the minute, but enough just to get me a train fare whenever events are happening.
Okay.
But there's a lot of at the minute as a lot of cutbacks are happening within the United Kingdom and throughout the world. But obviously what I'm focusing on is what's happening in London, which is the social cleansing and the gentrification of areas, or what is also known as regeneration.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of ways of looking at it. We can look at it as regeneration in a sense, but there are a lot of people's lives at stake, or their livelihoods at stake. So a lot of people are losing businesses, a lot of people are losing their homes and moving away. And so I'm going up there at the minute and capturing movements on the grassroots levels that raises awareness of social situations that they're involved in. So, i.e. evictions or homelessness or something